Getting
But
cooked
you
out
lived
here.
on your own and you're closing the door.
Getting cooked out. That it just looks more professional with the electrical box, you know.
Oh.
And who puts the electrical box in the guest room? What a bunch of weirdos.
I can't see that far left anyway. Don't worry about it. It's
Oh,
not in
perfect.
frame.
Perfect.
Yeah, you're good.
Hello, beautiful people.
What a way to kick it off.
We're talking electrical boxes because this one's going to be electric. Before we get into the CRO stuff, we got to promote. Where's the man, the myth, the legend? SB, there he is. There he is, on time as always. By the way, Kenny, look familiar. Rocking my Riot Society. He sent me a care package. So if you guys want to look all flying fresh, Curious George, really high quality product, Kenny. You really hit it out of the park here.
Nice.
There he is, fresh off of his Mexico
Sean?
vacations. Got some Mets action going. Before we get into the CRO audit, by the way, while we make some time, let's throw in any sites that you guys want to get done in terms of some CRO stuff. Just drop your URLs in the chat and we'll get to those. Also, any questions or anything like that, let me know. Oh, we got a Chomps person there. Let's go. Zoe. Oh, look at this. Oh, love it, guys.
Man.
Oh, my
Kids
gosh. Here we go. Fire it up.
So many Chomps, it's ridiculous.
The meat sticks, slanging the meat sticks. Let's go. Oh, my gosh. This is incredible. Okay, cool. Well, we'll get to the sites in a second. What else? We got some housekeeping. We just launched Free Willy. So dashboard, if you guys aren't already on Triple Whale, you can get a free version of the dashboard. I think 1,000 people is the cutoff right now. We're trying something a little bit new, giving some people some different on-ramps to ride the Triple Whale train. What else we got? You have some interesting product updates on the horizon as well, right, Logan?
Yeah. Well, I mean, I think the two most exciting ones are going to be notifications. So we're almost on the finish line for mobile push notifications for Apple first. So iOS push will be coming right to your phone, which will be really exciting.
Green bubble doesn't matter.
The first thing we're going to be doing is anomaly detection. And we're going to be sending that. You can set it up to where you can actually have it delivered to Slack, email, phone, desktop, Lighthouse. It'll all be there. Given the latest Facebook snafu, I think that'll be really awesome for folks. They can be in church and bing, bing, see that Facebook's flying off on them. So that'd be great.
Who doesn't love this kid? Who doesn't love this kid? After the church breakfast, hit up the old Ponderosa. Only the Midwesterners get that reference. Because would that have saved people? Because they would have said, hey, this is super anomalous. They can jump right in the Triple Whale app and cut off their campaigns.
Well, yes, that would save you. We actually had a couple of folks reach out and say that the rules saved them. So we had a rules engine set up so that. Yeah, I mean, it's like they have it checking every 15 minutes. So as soon as that first spike happened, it was just boom, knocked everything off and stopped spend altogether. So that's pretty cool.
What do you think?
Yeah, so rules engine can help. Say again.
What do you guys think is going to net out there? You think there's going to be some? Because I've talked to some people that had some pretty egregious overspends. Or not.
The latest I saw is that Facebook was asking people to reach out independently, or one by one. And I'm sure if it were me, I would definitely offer them a credit first, so they'll just spend that extra dollar, extra money on my platform. But I'm sure they're going to have to give refunds somewhere. So that's what I think is going to happen. But they're going to make it difficult on people. I don't think they're going to just roll over and put money back in people's pockets without them trying.
Yeah. What about you, Sander? What are your thoughts?
Yeah, anytime we one time had a glitch with one of our clients and it ended up spending like $4 million over the weekend.
Let's go. Let's go. G moves only.
So that was a great experience. But
your credit card handled that?
Come on, look at where
they were on Invoice.
Oh, got it.
Yeah. I mean, they're a very large publicly traded company, S&P. So yeah, they were fine, just not fine when that happened. So, I mean, Facebook took care of it like immediately. So I feel like, they might push people towards credit, but I feel like anytime there's bugs like this, they tend to do a good job fixing things.
All right, look at that. Two sides.
Zuck's laying off another 4,000 people, so we can afford it now. It's cool.
I know. I've been wanting to jump. I think Microsoft had a great beat. Yeah, it's interesting. These market headwinds are so confusing because there's like signs that like, oh, things are kind of come back to life. And then there's also signs in like maybe things aren't, maybe it's not the bottom yet, but that's not here nor there. What else do we got? We got
Activity feed. That's what you're excited about.
Oh, yes.
Yeah. So far there hasn't been a great place in the app. If you go back a year ago, maybe even 6 months, 8 months ago, there was not a lot of graphs in the app. You could see graphs on the summary page per metric,
Right.
but there wasn't a place to build a graph and overlay metrics. We built that functionality into a couple places like Creative Cockpit and Pixel. But even in Pixel or Creative Cockpit, if you wanted to look at Facebook ad spend compared to your overall Shopify revenue, you can't do it. So one, we're going to be building a space called the activity feed where you can look at any metric you want overlaid with any other metric you want and compare it period over period, or look at a 90-day period, whatever you'd like there. This is a great way to actually look at like Facebook ad spend and the correlation in Amazon sales, for example,
Right.
too, if you're unsure how those correlate. Additionally, we're going to have a list there of all activities that are happening across your kind of Shopify ecosystem. So think products created, products deleted, prices changed,
Yep.
then everything that happens in Facebook, then everything that happens in Google, everything that happens in Klaviyo. Not everything, but like campaign sent would be an example. So now you can look at revenue over time and then, toggle on Klaviyo campaign sent as an activity, and we'll layer that into your graph to show you, okay, the campaign was sent on Sunday, and that correlates directly with a spike in your revenue. And then we can use all that information for AI too. So as Willy gets built out further, you could be prompting Willy and ask them what the strategy is for next month. And Willy could tell you that it turns out that days when you send Klaviyo campaigns, revenue spikes by 30%. The best days for this happen to be on Sundays and Wednesdays. Things like that can happen. So I'm really excited for it.
Is there going to be custom events? Can I add a custom event in there? Oh,
Yeah,
wow.
Think about it like Google Analytics annotations.
Yep.
This is very similar. You can add your own activity. It's just like an annotation, and you can assign it to a metric, or you can just put a blanket annotation in if you just want to make a note of something changing, like the homepage hero. Let's say you're changing the asset or navigation or something, and just want to note that there for the team, or want to understand how it impacted conversion rate.
I used to, when I was running clients, I used to do all this in a spreadsheet. So that's really amazing. The other thing that I can think of is we have a big NBA team, and they just had a big game. And then on that big game, the guy running all that stuff sent me a screenshot, and he sent me what Google was saying and then what TW Pixel was saying. And it was just a massive spike because obviously you're all amped up. The team just won, and they go buy a bunch of merch. So for me, that'd be pretty cool to be able to layer in some of those things as well. What else we got? New pods dropped. Oh, it was amazing. I think it was the big stuff, right? Am I forgetting anything?
Yeah, Free Willy, notifications, activity feed.
Yep.
Yeah.
We had some good Creative Cockpit improvements as well.
Saunders' favorite. Favorite. Get in there. Get in there. Get you analyzing some creative. Speaking of Saunders' favorite, if you want some more time with Sonder, he not only has a personal link, but also Ocean Hours on Tuesdays. Him, Alejandro, and Raquel jam every Tuesday. So if you really want some one-on-one tactical advice or kind of more of a small group setting, that is going to be your spot. I think it's just, just oceanhours.com, right? I think I got that domain. Yep, oceanhours.com. And then, all right, housekeeping out of the way. I buried the lead. We have this gorgeous young man over here in the fourth quadrant. Sean, you want to give yourself a little quick elevator pitch, tell people about Audit, and then let's audit some sites.
Yeah, absolutely. Hey, everyone. Sean, I'm one of the co-founders of Audit. For the last few years, we've been working with just over 5,000 D2C brands. We take kind of a different approach to CRO. So ours is much more UX focused. So we work with a lot of customers kind of red marking their site, giving them insights into how we can remove friction, how we can get conversion up, AOV up. And we deliver that in kind of a full report with design files and rationale, helping them understand all the changes and the things we're recommending. So what we've been doing with Raba and crew a few times is we go through, anyone on the call site live and just kind of do some teardowns. I will note sometimes we won't get to everyone. So we do this for free on our site, one cross section. So Taylor, if you see in chat there, Taylor put a link in there. Just feel free to sign up there if we don't get to you, or if we do, we'll do it either way. And yeah, excited to look through everyone's sites.
Yeah.
So Sean, before we dig in, was there anything cool? We had you on like a few months ago. Have you guys, after all the clients you've worked with in between, has there been anything really interesting that you've learned that was new or different through a test with a recent client that's worth sharing?
I'm trying to think.
Like, for example, the other day I logged into a site. I never seen this style before, but they essentially, when I got to the product page, you would see the product photos below the main image on the right-hand panel. And then below that, they had a bunch of other product images, and it was like the frequently bought together. But they had the add to cart buttons for each of those frequently bought together right under the main add to cart. And so it was like the little add-ons were just right there. Mm-hmm. And I'd never seen that before, but I was really curious, like what that would do to add to cart rates and average order value if you added those little items right below your main add to cart button.
Yeah, we've been seeing that more and more, where as long as you have the catalog to do it, finding your products that work really well together and just like almost offering it as like a variant when you're adding to cart. So it's like, yeah, you can add this shirt to cart or add the shirt with matching shorts to cart. And they're like almost the same way, to kind of like push people into that not necessarily a bundle, but just like pairing products together.
Yeah.
We're seeing it more and more. I mean, what I can tell, what exactly is going to happen is you're going to see a lower add to cart on that product, and you're going to see AOV go up a little bit. And then now you're playing the game of like, do I want more conversions or higher AOV, and just trying to find that balance, right?
That's a cool math game to play too, Rob. But we'll have to cover that at some point, how we could show people how a loss in conversion rate, but an increase in AOV affects the numbers, especially on 90-day LTV. Is it better to get more customers in the door at a slightly lower AOV, or less customers in the door at a higher AOV on day one? It's really interesting.
Super interesting. And I would add another wrinkle to it is being cognizant of the doors people walk through on their first purchase can also impact LTV. Because if you give them a terrible experience with a product that isn't necessarily representative of your brand, very likely are they going to come back and buy more. So I think there's the quantitative that you're talking about, conversion rate, AOV, that's going to equal LTV, but there's also kind of the qualitative stuff, which also Sean and them at Audit are really, really hip to, where there's, like you said, all this stuff isn't just nestled in mathematics, but it's also really ensconced in empathy, where it's like understanding what I would do as a consumer. So that's one of the reasons I really love how they approach it, where it's just not all about number crunching. Because going back to what we were talking about, the Klaviyo, like if you send more email, you make more money. Yes, but there's a certain limit of email sends, and that's why we show you net new subscribers, unsubscribe rate, etc. Because you can overspend, and then you get to a place where you're killing the golden goose. That golden goose being your email list, where you work so hard to create this email list, but you get to a place of you're no longer creating value for that customer. You're extracting money from them. And the latter is not a great long-term business model. If it's, fidget spinners or something that you're not building a brand on and you're just a money grab, it is what it is. Everything's always rooted in the goal. But really good points.
One thing that I always look at when we're talking about AOV versus, sorry, just going outside.
I like the tour. It's like MTV Cribs.
I know, this is great.
Sorry. When we look at AOV versus conversion rate, it's more relevant to brands like ours, even where the AOV is really high, and we're not looking to move 1,000 products a day. We're looking to sell 2.
Yep.
But there's also the internal effects of like, if I sell 500 orders versus 1,000 orders and they're the same revenue, it's easier on my team, right? There's an internal benefit of, like, for example, last month we sold half the number of reports we normally sell, but our AOV was double because we've added a bunch of features. Our team is way less stressed on the actual like workload, and our management team is working to scale faster now because we're doing less work on our end to actually build out those reports. And so obviously that's a drastic example because we, not D2C, but even in D2C, I think there's those internal benefits of just having higher AOV versus conversion rate because you're packing less orders. It's just less effort.
Yep. No, I'm with that. I love it. Okay. Are you ready?
I'm ready.
Feel like Sandra's chomping at the bit here. Okay. So what we're going to do is we're going to give everybody a minute, and then we'll start with Sean this time, and then we'll go to Sandra and Logan. And then if the minutes get a little too long, we can truncate it down to make sure we get through a bunch of people. But let me share my screen and let's get going. Share. All right. First up, Mason Palmer, hot off the holiday. All right. Here we go. Okay. So this is Honest. All right. So Big Hero. Okay, cool. And then you guys can also click on the link if you want to see more. Oh, that's a good line. Little upsells. Little content action and footer. Okay, SB, you are on the clock starting now. Go ahead.
Perfect. First comment is at the very top in the header. It's tough to tell how big this is. That's probably my first comment is like, looks really sexy and sleek, but I don't know if it's 4 inches tall or 12 or 20. Like, you know, bongs, pipes come in so many different sizes.
Yep.
There's really no context here. Like that plant could be it, but even that's not giving me anything. So I always say this to customers, like, if you can just have someone's hand in there holding it or something in reference in the image that gives perspective to the size, because that's such a big driver of price, of like price sensitivity too, right? If I'm spending $100 on a 18-inch bong or $100 on a hand pipe, my aversion to purchasing is going to be different.
Yep.
And then one thing I noticed further down on the next one, I'll go into some other stuff, but voted best bong for a reason, that headline there.
All right, well, yeah, there we go.
We just, whenever we're looking at content in brands, we just always urge customers to be very careful with, you know, press statements. It's kind of like going down the street in any city and seeing best cup of coffee in the world in the window. It's like, okay, bullshit, right? Who said that?
What is that L phrase? Like, congratulations.
Yeah, exactly. So it's just kind of like, and you may have been voted best bong, but I think it's, what I'm getting at is you got to communicate who said it, how credible is it? And because the second you start making claims like that, it just opens up a can of worms of trust of like, okay, well, are they just copywriting here? And there's no real visuals to pair with this of like, what's actually, like what was actually said about it. All these different things start to build up. And obviously like your average consumer is not coming in thinking that, but it's not doing the trust building I think you probably think it's doing in this case. So I would just play with that content and try and make it a little more trustworthy, actually more accurate and more clear about what actually was said about the bong. Can you go to mobile, Raba?
Yeah.
Sorry, I'm over my minute. You guys can go if you want.
Hey, you're the important one.
No, go ahead, guys.
No, I mean, while he's going to mobile, the only thing I was going to know, I really love your idea about scale. I think that's really important to understand. Like, is this thing 2 feet tall, or are we talking like, you know, a 1 foot bong or even shorter? The other thing too, with like Shop on desktop specifically, is the nav.
Better.
I'd be curious. Oh yeah, that's cool. Yeah.
I like that.
So we need some scale there, but I think it helps. It helps a little bit. And with the nav on desktop, I'd be curious if instead of nesting the products under Shop, if you just did bongs, pipes, whatever the key products are at the very top, and people could just go straight to the one they want, or like all or something. I'd be curious to know what that would do to the overall conversion rate.
I would remove, honestly, we've started almost recommending removing everything except products from the nav, unless it's like something crazy critical.
Yeah.
Like you have 100 product catalog in their search, that kind of stuff. But we've almost started recommending remove everything, move it to the footer. If they really want to learn about you, they'll find it. If they want to contact you, they'll find it.
Yeah, no, I'm totally with that. I loved all that. All right. Let's go to you, Sonder, and I think we'll kick you to the next one, Logan, because we're gonna hit
Yeah.
5 minutes pretty quickly. All right, Sonder, you got like a $1.20. Hit me.
I'll just give one quick tidbit. I would love to see like a motion graphic or something here that is like highlighting the functionality and why it makes it easier to clean or taking it apart. Like, I think highlighting the simplicity there, I think would be helpful just to support the claim a little bit more. And maybe that's a good way to incorporate some scale as well. So yeah, that's really the only thing I would probably add here. I don't know. It's obviously hard in what you can and can't include when it comes to cannabis products and
Sure.
advertising that way. So I know you've got to be careful there, but yeah, I think just something that's a little more engaging, I guess, in the imagery, I would love to see.
Yeah. Well, I'll still 30 seconds back since I agree with everything that you guys said. The one thing that I would be interesting to see here is one, like this kind of line is kind of the same problem that you had with the voted Best Buy, for in my opinion, Sean. Like smokewear designed to be seen, like that's cool, but like at the same time, what's the job to be done with a bong? You know what I mean? Like maybe it is a showpiece, but like maybe this would be better, like smoke it and show it or something. Like for me, there, to Saunders' point, like the functionality play could probably be stronger here. For me, I think the black and white palette is awesome, but when I think of black and white, I really think of like super luxury. And again, I haven't played with this product, and so there's definitely a luxury-esque vibe for it. But I think there, especially in this space of cannabis, you can be a little bit more quirky, so that could be kind of interesting. I totally agree with you guys in getting some semblance of products kind of integrated a little bit more. Like even pushing that up there, or yeah, I think just the functionality of it, or really leaning into some functionality, I think would be a little bit. And when I say functionality of like the actual showing
Usage.
why, why this product is, why you're so smart for buying this product, et cetera, et cetera. The other thing could be, I know with these types of products, cleaning can be an issue, and so I would want to lean into a little bit more of the anxieties and the functionality, and then listen to all the other stuff. But now this is
Who
cool.
does a great job of that is, and I'm sure Mason, who posted this, knows this, but Seth Rogen's brand, he does
So
such
good.
a great job of visually showing that this is a bong or a pipe or like an ashtray, but it's like an art piece, and he puts it in his office that he's made, this like second home in the back of his house. And I think that would be a cool way to go about it.
That's a really cool thing too, where you could have some juxtaposition of like some high-end art and then this next to it or something like that.
Yeah,
So yeah, I really like that call out, Logan. Okay, we took a couple too many hits and we went over on this one, so
we're excited about the bong hits.
And we're excited. Appreciate you, Mason. Hope you had a great holiday, and I hope you did a bunch of sales on the holiday. Okay, next up is Chompies. Let's go to Chomps. We're gonna start with you, Logan, because you got short shrift last time.
I thought I got some words in. I was
excited. You did? You want to kick the start?
I just feel like Sean's the most important guy here. I'd love to get his take first, and if I have anything to add, that's great. But I doubt it.
Okay. All right, SB, you're driving the boat again. Here we go. So we got this.
So I actually already looked at this, and I wanted to call out. Scroll down. There's a section of products right there. Okay. So
wait, where'd it go?
Oh, this
flyer,
one,
isn't it?
This one?
No.
I think you wanted to see like all the sticks.
All the sticks. There we go.
Oh, hold on, where?
Right there.
Oh, these ones?
Yeah, the red and the orange and the green.
Is mine might have been delayed.
Maybe you're sticking on us. Yeah.
Okay.
This is making my point for me because he can't find where your products are. Well
rehearsed we are.
I think this is a perfect example of kind of like choosing beauty over function. I think the packaging is so simple and awesome, but you really have to interact with this to understand what's happening here. I think it really looks like a piece of content, a shop all button, and a display of all your products. These are actually product cards. You can click through each of these to get to the product page. And it forces discovery. In some cases, discovery can be awesome, right? There's this almost like hidden little delightful trigger in the user's brain of being like, oh, that's cool. This one's probably a little too deep of discovery. Like the odds of them clicking is actually quite low. Like when I said product cards, Robbo just scrolled past it 3 times. That's a perfect example of how hard it probably is because it doesn't look like product cards. So the answer here is probably just honestly having some sort of bounding box around these. That's going to destroy the aesthetic though. So maybe it's even some sort of guidance around like pick your flavor. Like just a simple title above this with an arrow down that says pick your flavor is going to help a ton. Especially on mobile. On mobile, it gets even trickier because it truly looks just like a gallery on mobile.
Yep.
And at the end of the day, this is kind of from the homepage perspective, this is your main access point to these products. I can click shop all in a few locations, but actually seeing the flavors and the different meats is here. And so it becomes immensely important for these to actually be functional. The simplest like UI detail here, I would bet anything it's going to increase click through on this instantly. Just some sort of communication saying you can click these.
So I want to just interject and then we'll throw it over to you, Sander. I think that's brilliant. I've been, I've fallen to this siren song as well of like, hey, look at what the cool developer can do. Look how beautiful it looks. But again, there's a certain aspect of, do you want to win a design award or do you want to hit your revenue targets? And that's the challenge where the only caveat I would say there is luxury. Like if you're a proper pure luxury brand, you kind of don't play by the same rules as marketers or regular marketers. There's a whole literal anti-marketing handbook for luxury. But for me, even just a simple, like, because I think these actual little cartoony sketches are beautiful, the coloring is gorgeous. You could even just have a gallery of that, right? With just highlighting the flavor, here's a cow, here's a turkey, here's this original turkey stick, and then you could just have this really cool, almost like kaleidoscope palette of colors, and then you can get into these things because that is definitely something that I think is a little bit challenging here. And then the other thing here, I think this is great, but I would almost put product there first. I don't know. I agree with you, Sean. I think that the product is a little hidden in this place because I can't get to a product. So there's a product. There's sort of a product, but there's nothing like in my face getting me to the products really, really quickly, which I think, to your point, Sean, like discovery can be cool, but if you're hot and bothered, just get to people where they need to go, and building in that friction isn't necessarily always a bad thing, but for the most part, I try and have really easy, quick on-ramps. So if people want to get off the discovery highway, they can, and they can give me money.
Yeah, and I think just as an added note there, a lot of big brands, like I'm not totally familiar with, Chump's revenue, but I'm familiar with their brand enough that my kids eat them every day. So like, right. I'm assuming that they do have a pretty big brand equity. So like, as your brand equity goes up, your ability to get away with shit like this goes up as well.
100%.
Right. And, there are people who are up in arms about the Glossier site.
Oh,
right?
gosh, I can't believe
I was like,
about that. Yeah.
Yeah, it's a UX nightmare for sure.
Yeah.
But they can kind of get away with it. Like you don't have to follow every UX trend once you're that size. You just don't. It's just how it is, right? People want Glossier. They're going to get it, whether the button's white, red, fucking whatever color. They're
so bad.
Buy the product. They don't give a shit.
Yeah.
Yes, new user discoverability is going to have an effect, but honestly, even there, it's such a cult following of a huge brand, like they'll get away with it. And this is a little bit like that. I think where that shifts in that that section we're talking about is you're relying on the packaging to do all your communications, which no matter what your brand is, I just advise against that. Like each of these should say the flavor and beef and a little link to buy them right above them, just so that don't assume they're reading the packaging. Don't assume the color tells them anything, be a little more clear, and then you can probably get away with it.
Yeah, and I'm going to throw it over to you, Sandra, to take us home. But one last thing that I would add here as well is like this is a perfect bundling product, and I have not been given any like chances to bundle anything at all or buy in like quantity or whatever. And so you're just building all these layers of decision with me. And then the last thing is with Glossier, it's like, to your point of like the new customer discovery, that's already happened. Most people aren't going to Glossier to like actually like understand and talk about and like learn about the brand. They're going there to buy. And so like to your point, like Glossier is in that, I wouldn't consider it luxury, but it's like as close to top tier premium that gets to luxury. Like it's very, and the last thing, because I'm rambling here, but there's a certain aspect of like get the basics right. And when you nail the basics and you want to go disco, go fucking disco. But like when you're growing, it's really helpful to have a really strong foundation. But brand equity can really heal all wounds type of thing.
Yeah.
All right, Big S, the Utah, give it to me.
I mean, I tend to agree a lot with Sean here. I think this is definitely tends to feel like a more brand focused website, which to Sean's point, they do really well and they can get away with. I think the biggest thing that probably stands out to me as a consumer of Chomps as well is I don't see anything talking about it being like grass fed or pasture raised in anything, which was always a big selling point for me initially. At least towards like the top of the fold. Now you can see it on the packaging, so maybe it's a non-issue. If you're looking closely, you can see it there. But yeah, that was kind of like the one. I just know consumers of this product that's important to them. So just interesting. I didn't see it in any text towards the top half of the page.
Yeah, that's really interesting. The other thing too is kind of repeating and building off of Sean's previous point. If you don't want to hide stuff in your menu, sometimes the split menu can be helpful to build a hierarchy of like put all the stuff, especially for English or most people in the West, it's left to right. That's how you're going to scan the page. So you can put the most important things in the top left if you don't go logo left, and you can have kind of less prominent things broken out into this kind of sidebar over here. So that might be something if you have some menu things. Okay, Logan, any final thoughts before we go to Encircled?
Well, yeah, if you'll have my thoughts, I'll give them. I love jerky. I love jerky. Clearly, these guys are doing well based on what you guys have said. I've never heard of them, but it looks awesome. My biggest thing is that I kind of know that Slim Jims are bad. I just know that for whatever reason. Although I don't know how bad the other brands are. What would sell me on this product is if you told me the comparison between buying Chomps versus any other brand.
Ooh,
because like if you told me that the other brands use all these bad, I see some instances of fillers, no fillers, but if you told me the other stuff was full of carcinogens and this is actually healthier, I would be like, oh man, I'm eating cigarettes and this is healthy. Like I would buy it. But like otherwise, I'm like, well, do I want to pay $2 a stick or am I going with my 99-cent, Slim Jim?
That's
I don't
amazing.
know. That's my 2 cents on it.
Instead of snacks without shortcuts, don't eat ciggies. No, that was really interesting. So I think ultimately a lot of that can be solved with just some quick copy cleanup, because I think the aesthetic is okay-ish. Like I like kind of the vibe. It's like fun. But I think just a couple cleanups there would be really, really interesting, but very amazing. Oh, go ahead, Sean.
One last note,
Yep.
and this is something to just always keep in mind and it's relevant to this conversation, because most brand owners, like let's say that I'm looking at Chomps as a consumer and I'm like, oh, they must be huge. It's such a big brand. And Logan didn't know who it was, right? And so a lot of brand owners think that way too, right? They can get away with things because everyone thinks their brand is the best, right?
Yep.
And so point I'm making is there's no social proof on this entire site.
Oh.
So if Logan doesn't know who they are, and that's, let's say 2 out of 4 of us on this call didn't know who they were, and they are a big brand. I mean, there's still a lot of discoverability out there. You can't forget about social proof. Those press logos aren't doing anything.
That's interesting.
Need some form of reference there for what are customers loving about it? What are people saying? Oh, there we are. There's some.
Yeah, these are the reviews. But to your point, if you can size this a little better, I think that could be really interesting. This is also pretty interesting that I think I wouldn't have known about the mini sticks. That's pretty interesting. But yeah, Chomps is killing it. Amazing people, Shrey, Zoe, all the folks making it awesome over there. It's great. Good stuff. Thank you, Matt. You are the man. Okay, Carly, you are up next. I think I can just share another tab.
I'm gonna go see if I can find this in my grocery store.
They have a decent retail presence.
Yeah, I
I
saw
think we
that
get
free
them at
up.
Costco. I think my wife gets them.
Costco, nice.
Oh wow, yeah, they must be.
I think that's where she gets them.
Okay, this is from the lovely, indomitable Carly Havlin. Okay, encircled CA. All right, I'll give you guys a few seconds. Hey, simplified header or simplified menu. Let's go. Well, it's a little busy, but I really like the quiz. It's a good line. Also a good line. Ooh, the styles. Okay. Social proof. Okay, Brent, you ready?
Yeah.
Okay. Oh, this is a long one.
You said Brent, right?
Yeah. We'll have you. All these guys have deferred you. Hey, Canadian made. Let's go. The big white north. All right.
Now we're talking.
There we go. Women owned. 100% secure checkout. Certified. I don't know if people really care about. Oh, we prioritize people in the plan over profits. I think that stuff is more perks than incentives. But okay, hit me.
Okay, so the first thing we always call this out just because it comes from the way that most people shop, but I think a lot of brands just latch on to functionality that Shopify offers and then just use it. I would not suggest letting people add to cart from here. Pretty much all the product cards allow you to kind of quick add. That's how people shop on Amazon, for their laundry detergent. That's not how people shop for clothing. They're not landing on the homepage and just grabbing shit, like they're running through Ross on a sale day. Like they want to look at the product, look at what's it all about, see the size chart. I would find it very hard to believe you're getting any add to carts from here, or a very low percentage. And when the reason it's important is not because let's just tear away functionality for the user, is when they land on this card without it, there's one decision to make. Do I want to click and run more, or do I want to keep moving? And you're adding a second decision, and you're just going to get less click-throughs to your product page where you will have higher conversion. So it's just a simple equation of push them there where then they can get more info, more images, this beautiful review. There's just more there, right? And you're going to have higher conversion on add to carts from here. So just remove it.
Okay. Love it.
I do like the review below the add to cart. That's a nice little feature.
Yeah.
That PDP wasn't terrible. Okay, so is there a case that you do like quick add to carts on the homepage?
When we're doing reports, it comes down to kind of price and the type of product, right? We're getting more and more submissions for actual marketplaces and customers that sell thousands of products. It makes perfect sense on pages like that, right? Add 2 cases of water, whatever. But when it comes to products like this that are a little higher price point, we're not buying, if this was $20 t-shirts, maybe it might work. But from my perspective, I wouldn't even test it. I would remove it, and you can email me and trash me on Twitter if I'm wrong, but I'm pretty sure your conversion is going to be helped by removing that from your homepage. I wouldn't even test it.
And then possibly make it up in a upsell, cross sell once I get that into the cart and say, oh, hey, did you know that the unblazer that you just put in your cart looks incredible with our effortless V-neck or something? Is that how you would kind of build that up?
Yeah. And honestly, there not enough brands utilize bundling in a sexy way. They look at it okay, there's a tool for bundling. I'll just pop this in here. And there's just this aversion to it where it just makes it feel really complex and difficult. And I can see right here, you're already offering 15% off to anyone who lands on the site. Doesn't matter what they want. And so what's the harm in when they get to a product page saying, hey, want to add sweatpants, add a second product, 15% off. There's very few brands actually surface discounts for adding more products to cart. And it's just such an underrated way of not just surfacing the additional products to purchase, the sweatpants with the top or whatever, but actually offering a benefit to buying more and giving that price break.
Yeah, interesting. I love all that. Let's see who's up next. Sonder, and then you can finish this up, Logan.
Perfect. Yeah, I was actually looking here on the product pages. I didn't see anything about the size of the model.
They have a sizing. They have a
Where'd you
what's
see
my
that?
size. They have a what's my size on the PDP.
But does it click on it? Does it tell you the size of the model?
No, but it'll give you a size calculation.
All right.
I see what you're saying though. So you want so you like that when it's like this model is 6 foot and 180 pounds.
Wearing a
or something
large,
like
yeah.
that. Okay.
I mean,
Interesting.
for me, I'm indifferent. For my wife, it's like the biggest game changer ever. So
Interesting.
anytime she's shopping, seeing the size of the model, I think partly because she's 6 foot, right? So
Yeah.
she's tall. So she just likes to see, you know, if the model's 5'7", then that kind of helps her like recalculate because she's always looking at like length and stuff like that. So if she can see, all right, this model's 5'7" wearing a medium, and it is halfway to her calf or whatever, then she can kind of like say, all right, a large is probably the length I need. Will it kind of fit the size wise?
Mhm.
So yeah, I think for women's brands, that's always like one of the biggest recommendations I give on a product page is always include the model. Like ASOS does a good job of that, right? They always like call out the model size.
Yeah, I love it, man. That's fantastic. Oh, look at that. That's pretty cool, though. You can get a
That's cool.
virtual fit appointment. That's pretty slick.
That's rad.
Very cool.
Logan, what do you else have? Anything else to add?
Well, I just wanted to ask Sean a question, get his feedback on something on the homepage. So, like, let's say a customer comes there. I imagine they didn't just find them out of nowhere. Maybe there was some inkling of knowledge, but how do you feel about, I understand the idea of promoting the newest product or the newest line, but like for me, we just came into the site. Now I have no previous knowledge, but how do I really know who this brand is? Like, do you see that there's more information about the brand and why they exist matter a lot above the fold, or is it okay for that just to live in an about section?
No, I kind of had the same thought when we landed of like, okay, so is this like intended to be the best t-shirt dress on the planet and that's their thing?
Yeah, I kind of thought that too, but then I was
felt
like, oh,
like
it's just a new
that
thing.
was their thing, but it's actually a ton of different products. I definitely agree with you. I think it's probably testing and finding a balance of like most of the time what we always are recommending is if you're going to feature a product and you're going to say, hey, look at this new dress or whatever it is, make sure that you're finding a way to weave in your overall brand statement as well, right? Find a way to not just say, hey, here's a t-shirt dress and weave in a little bit more of that brand story in a way that they can digest it instantly. I don't think there's necessarily a right answer. It's really on the brand to be like, I want to sell more of our new product, or I want to sell more of our best sellers.
Right.
I want to sell, but I think just making that initial interaction, like you're saying, Logan, to be a little more communicative about the actual like brand and the different types of clothing they're making. It's also not made clear in that header if I'm going to shop that single product. Like if you click shop, Robert, where do I go? Is it just that dress product page?
No.
Yeah.
Yep.
That's risky to me. I mean, I'd be taking them to a collection page or
Where
even
maybe
shop
you're
all.
featuring that product first.
Yeah.
Especially too, because they have some really cool stuff going on down here. They had like a little shop the look type of thing. Like I think this is actually kind of dope, and like integrating all that into that, maybe adding a quiz there. I'm with you on that, Sean. That feels like a lost click because that probably has the highest click through rate on the whole site.
It could even be as simple as having a secondary action here. And traditional CRO people will probably shoot me for saying that, but like having the, shop shirt dress button, like making this one more clear, and then a secondary one that's maybe stroked, not filled, and that says, take the quiz, let us recommend some stuff, or shop bestsellers, or
find the perfect wardrobe for you, whatever.
For free.
Yes.
Stylist, something like that.
That's interesting because then that mediates a lot of the sizing anxiety. No, that's all really, really well done. The only other thing that I'll add here is I get the probably thought process behind it, but this italicized font, I think legibility is the weight's really, really light. and then the legibility just doesn't land for me. And I think that I get the point of you want to have some sort of like differentiator between your regular text, but I don't know, this stylized or this italic doesn't really tickle my pickle too much. But I like a lot of the functionality is really cool though. I think there's a lot of just awesomeness in terms of like, I love the shop the look, I love the sizing, I love to take the quiz. And honestly, like I would try and highlight that a little bit more, like you were saying, Sean, or even if you wanted to use it down here of like, you know, a 3-column of like shop the look, get the sizing or whatever. I don't know. There's just a lot. Shop the look, personalized sizing. If not, you can take a quiz. Like I think there's a lot of really good things going on here. Just some aesthetical and structure things that can probably go a long way.
I think quizzes is one of those things too where you really gotta play with how you're positioning it. Like when you go back to most people's perception of the word quiz before e-commerce hijacked it, it's negative, right? Like I'm putting time in to do something that's fucking negative. Yep. So you really got to find ways to position it as a benefit, not just, hey, come take our quiz. Like, tell me what the hell I'm going to get out of this. Are you going to recommend me one shirt? Am I going to get wardrobe for the next 12 months? Am I going to get a subscription? What the hell am I getting at the end? I think that's important. And in this case, they say, find your ideal capsule wardrobe, but like even that, like that's kind of brand speak. You're not telling them really what they're getting.
Yeah, no, I love that. Carly, really cool brand, awesome stuff. A lot of those things are really, really pertinent to a lot of the anxieties that come with buying clothes, especially women's clothes. So I think you're definitely on the right path. Just a couple little cleanups here and there. Thank you for submitting, Miss Haviland. Julio Marin, you are up next. All right.
Saunders apologizing for Rob-isms. Love it.
Got. Okay, Fan Diem. Is that a play off of Carpe Diem, perhaps? I don't know. I'm cultured over here.
Can you put this one on mobile, Rob? I just want to see something.
Yeah, absolutely.
Do these guys give away concert tickets or experiences?
So I'm not super sure on that one yet.
Julio says kind of in the chat.
Well, Julio, we might be best friends if you can get me into that new venue in Vegas.
Let's go.
So right off the hop, I think, and this is going to be relevant to everyone on the call. If we, let's say we all install Hotjar today and we all look at our data in the next month, a month later, it's going to be different for everyone. But for the most part, this right here is the only section every customer that lands on your site sees, right?
Yeah.
As you scroll down, that percentage of people that's getting there is going down and down and down. And the very first section, as much as you talk about what you're doing and what your brand does, there's no social proof. And then the biggest thing is there's no action. You can click on this GIF, but it is really not made clear that this is an action on mobile or desktop. And you're probably losing a lot of clicks from that, because people are just looking at it being like, okay, here's a GIF of information. Then they start scrolling. And when you start scrolling, there's even less actions on the page. So now most of your users aren't getting to an action that they think is an action until like, what is it, section 3, Raba? 4?
Yeah, I mean, it gets,
Oh, Sean, are you guys using a tool already besides Hotjar to look into that data, the clicks? Because we're thinking about building that into Triple Whale as well, where a customer could put a script tag right behind that header, and you guys we could run that for 2 weeks and see what the views on the page are versus the clicks, and you could swap it out and do the same thing. Are you already doing that in like Google Analytics or Hotjar?
We're not, but I mean, I would say with our customers, it's split between Hotjar and Microsoft Clarity is kind of what most of them are using. But I think it'd be brilliant if you guys can find ways to integrate that into the dashboard and surface key information around that, because so many customers underestimate, like we get audits where they're so concerned with all this content that we basically are like, hit delete button and it's so far down their page and they're like, well, why would we delete that? It's like, well, you're affecting page load speed, you're affecting like all these different things you're affecting. And look at your clarity. There's probably 10 out of 100 people seeing it. Like it's almost completely irrelevant. So I think finding ways to analyze that. And for us, it's much less about us analyzing it. We want to educate our customers on how to analyze it, right? Because we don't do ongoing engagements. We don't do retainers or anything. It's the one-time report. So for us, it's more about like doing stuff like this where we're talking about like, hey, look for this, right? Like use that clarity to decide your entire page flow. Don't watch a Twitter feed on what your landing page flows would be. Like use it as an influence, but like look at your heat map. Where are people actually clicking? Make that the order of your pages, right? Your homepage or whatever page.
Yep.
Sorry, Julio's saying individual prize pages. Can we go to one of those, Rava?
Of course. Yeah. And while I'm filling some time, the other thing that I would say, kind of also just piggybacking off of Sean's point, is you could do some word flippage there of like, and I'll go back to it because he wants to go through these. Do you want to see them on mobile, or you want to? This is okay, or you want desktop?
Yeah, let's do mobile. I'm guessing it's a lot of paid traffic. I think the main thing here, Julio, is there's just a lot of content. Not that that necessarily is always bad, but you got to find more unique ways, I think, to display it.
Yeah, it could be more nesting. Like try to get them to understand where the CTAs are first, and if they want to expand the description of the contest or what they win, they could do so.
Yeah, I think that the key thing here is when you consider what the end goal is, right? You're trying to get people to donate. If you've got, let's just say the ideal donation is $100, you really just got to assess what is all the information needed for someone to be like, okay, that's enough information for me to want to go to this event or donate, and get that above these donate buttons. Everything else should live below. Above these, there's quite a bit of content that you probably, whether it's nesting or just cutting it down, you could probably pull away. Like when we talk about get people to the add to cart above the fold, like these are 5 scrolls down the page. You know what I mean?
Sean, what do you think about donate as a CTA following the user on the way down? Like what if it was kind of like a, you know what I mean? On the right-hand side and it followed you.
I think so this is donate to get a chance to win, right? It's not donate and win.
Correct. You buy what I'm taking away from this is essentially like a raffle, but the raffle, instead of going to the circus or the carnival or whatever, that money goes towards a donation, or it is a donation towards some sort of charity. And then that, I'm sure there's some sort of cut taken out for FanDM to make sure that they can run a profitable business. But that's my understanding. And Julio,
am I missing something where it's telling me how many people I'm in the mix with?
Ooh, that's a good question. It shows you down here, but not in.
You donate to get entries.
There's not a like.
That would probably turn people off, wouldn't it? There's like 5,000 entries. Like, well, I'm probably not going to win this one, so they just don't donate.
Right.
Yes.
What that would do.
Could I push back on that?
Yeah.
And say that could also, depending on the excitement around the event, that could push people into a higher price point to buy 1,000 tickets or 5,000 tickets or something.
Yeah.
Because these aren't like egregious price points, like $500 to win. So I don't know. I get what you're saying, but I think it could cut both ways to be fair. Because again, these aren't crazy, and this is, again, I'm guessing some sort of like random raffle. And so if you get 1,000 of the 5,000 tickets, it kind of is like, hey, it's not as horrible of a deal as it sounds.
One thing I would try here, Julio, regardless of if you change nothing else on this page, I think it would be interesting to test other ways of selecting the variant. Like I know these feel like buttons. I'm guessing each of those donate things is a button. But there's just a lot happening there. And then the other thing is never assume that a user is connecting two pieces of info. So you have a heading that says entries, and then each one says 100, 250, 1,000. By the time they get to 2,000, they're not reading it like 2,000 entries, right? They're just seeing numbers. So like that, every one of those should say 2,000 entries, 5,000 entries, 10,000 entries, 1,000 entries.
Yeah.
You can't assume they even saw that heading. Until Rob scrolled back 2 or 3 times, I didn't realize what that number meant.
Yeah. No, that's really, really good stuff. I'm going to take us to the next one just because we're running a little bit low on time. Julio, thank you so much for submitting. This is a really cool idea. I hope we gave you some semblance of insight. Oh, that was the one thing I did want to touch on, though. I think for the homepage, I would just play around with this wording and almost in a weird way, like have support great causes, win epic prizes. That's the headline. And then like, to your point, Logan, having like, donate to win or enter the contest or whatever as a action item or a CTA, because support great causes and win epic prizes, that to me makes, like, I pretty much understand what's going on now. Whereas like donate to win, you're like, what am I winning? What am I donating to? There's just a lot of questions that come up that aren't necessarily answered, and it makes it a little bit challenging to get through that. But really cool idea, man. Very, very cool stuff. Okay, Freak, let's go. Freak Gillian. I hope I'm pronouncing your name correctly. Let me jump over here. All right. Ooh, these are cool. Oh, these are cool. Okay, loop airplugs. Okay, Sean, take like a quick 30 seconds and then we'll jump you in.
I think I know these guys. They're meant for concerts, right? So that way your ears don't get blown out if you're up near the stage.
Yeah. This is kind of what you were talking about as well. The Solstice collection and the earplugs. That's slick. Social proof right off the gun. Love to see it. Muffle sound, get in your bubble. I know exactly what it does. Filter sound and take out the edge. Amazing. Filter the noise, not your voice. Amazing.
So are these, sorry, Robert, are those different products, different
They are all different
sound
products.
levels that you're talking?
Yeah, they all have these different different kind of value props here.
I think that's just looking at that homepage header. I know we focus a lot there, but it's just always easy because that's where people land. But I think that's one thing that gets missed here is if I'm landing here, these products aren't, like let's just say these are yoga mats. I'm kind of just shopping for different designs, right?
Yep.
That's the difference between a yoga mat and a yoga mat.
Yep.
In here, the difference between all the other earplugs is they're different levels of sound, as I understand it, right? Different levels.
You could call it functionality, just to be generic.
Exactly. Different function. And I don't know the difference between the Solstice collection and the other earplugs on here. So how can I make a decision? So I don't have an answer exactly how I'd write that copy, but there's probably a way even on the shop all to be like, shop all sound levels or shop all, like be more descriptive in what the other ones might be in difference to the Solstice collection. That might have confused you even more. But I think the key point is like, make it clear that if you're going to offer other products than the one you're featuring, like what the difference is between them.
Yeah, I love that. Yeah, it's really interesting. I think the Help Me Choose is interesting. I'm not a big USD guy. I prefer the $, but that's just total nitpicking. Yeah, I don't think this is terrible. I think those are some really, really good takes, actually, Sean. I think this is close-ish for sure. Close-ish.
He said, check out the product page. Just click through to one.
Oh yeah. Amazing.
I also think while you're getting there too, like I'm pretty sure I've seen these promoted through the fish community as well.
Mm-hmm.
One of the things I might do on the homepage is like, I wonder if you would benefit if you're sending traffic there or traffic's coming there from Google Organic or something, is a hero that explains the value prop right out of the gate. And if you have a new product, you could find a way there visually to call it out, like shop the new Solstice collection. But I need to know what it is first. And then I think it could be cool to test sections that go towards the benefit or the problem statement. So best for concerts, best for sleep, best for, I don't know what else you use it for, but if there's other use cases, like instead of telling me
Ooh.
this is the Loop Plus, be
If
like,
you're
this
going
is
to a
what you need for
concert, this
concerts.
is what.
Yeah.
Yeah, I
That's really jobs to be done. That's really interesting.
Yeah, and it's interesting you say that, Logan, because they right below the add to cart here, like they're already saying here's what it does, but you're also making a massive assumption that anyone on the planet knows what the hell 18 decibels is. Like,
Yep.
unless you're a sound engineer, I mean, I couldn't tell you if that's a sound like as loud as a fart or a tractor in my, like, I have no idea what that sound decibel level is. And maybe all the, ad traffic is coming from people who do know that. But,
And Sean, I think I heard you have kids too. Like, I'd love to know, are these safe for my kid to wear at a concert versus the big headphones? Like, can they replace those? I mean,
comparison chart would be really key here.
Or
Comparing
even the look, right? The aesthetic of you have these big earmuffs on your kids, and then you have these loop plugs, and it's like we block the same amount of sound, but you don't look like Ben Stiller running on the beach with the the headphones. That's really good feedback.
I think one thing I struggle with going to those concerts is like, I've seen this promoted, and sorry, I keep bringing up Fish, but that's like the band I care about.
Yeah.
But it's like, I don't really know if I need this. So like, I've heard about it. And like, so this guy, Freak here, like, I've heard about you. I just don't know the need. Like, am I going to go deaf if I'm like sitting in the 10th row, or like if I'm in the lawn, does this matter to me? Like, tell me more about how this product is needed for anyone going to a concert because of the issues that happen with ear or hearing over time. If you're going to multiple concerts a year or something.
Yeah, no, that's great. Sorry, Frank. It's F. It's like Drake, but with an F. Sorry about that.
Drake. Frank. Sorry.
Yeah, what a cool name, man. It's amazing. This was awesome. Yes, I think there was I think it was from Matt L, our homie. Yeah, this is the last Wednesday, last webinar of every month. We'll do these, and what we can do is get you guys a form to pre-submit, so that way you can try and get it in this time. We ran a little long, but there was just so much knowledge being thrown around. I didn't want to stop the flow. If you guys don't want to wait a month, jump over to, is it audit.co? What is it?
Audit.co, yeah.
Yeah, audit.co. They're amazing. I've actually, when I was running my brands, I had 2 of them done, and they're really transformative. If you want to go and look at a site of what not to do, go to Glacier. But to be fair, it's like when you get to a certain level, you don't play by rules. You get to write your own book, and so that's kind of, I think, the big takeaway from Glacier. But gosh darn, like, whatever agency got paid, because they got paid boatloads from them.
Oh yeah,
it is definitely a unique redesign. So definitely go check that out. Sean's also on the Twitters. What is it? It's
put it in here.
Brandify. I always forget it.
Oh yeah, Brandify.
And
Taylor and Logan just dropped in a coupon code for everyone on the call.
Look at that. Let's go. Let's save some people some money. 'Tis the season. Okay, LB, sign us off. We're 6 minutes over.
Cool. Sean, thanks so much for coming on, spending your time with us, providing all this feedback and value to everybody. I'm sure they appreciate it. Thanks everybody for joining today. Make sure you're signed up, go to Audit, check their site out, sign up for whatever content they have, book a call with them. Make sure you're signed up for all the content for Triple Whale. And if you want to share this or review it, we'll have it on YouTube within the next 72 hours. So
yeah, and you should have a follow-up email as well with the link there. Shameless plug. Where can people sign up for Sunday Dink Club? Your pickleball thing. Man. If you're into pickleball, how do they get into it?
Find me on Instagram, Sunday Dinking Club. Should have a pretty prominent pro joining the podcast.
Look at this
in a little while. So check it out.
Big things coming here. Frank, Matt, who were the fantastic gals at the beginning? Mason, amazing. Kenny B, always love you, my man. Julio, Carly, you guys were incredible. People that we didn't get to, I'm so sorry. We'll do it next time. And then that's it. Thank you, Sean. Dude.
Yeah.
You're such a gem. I really appreciate all the incredible feedback. Thank you, man. That's who it was. I was wondering. I love them. DJ. I was like, how did I
get these socks?
Incredible. The chef's kiss. They're fabulous. The fabrics are incredible. 8 minutes over. So sorry for taking up all of your guys' time. Thank you so much. We'll see you next week. Don't forget to sign up for next one. Whalewebinar.com. LB, always a pleasure. Sean, thank you so much. Bye,
Thanks, guys.
everybody. We'll talk soon.
Thanks, guys.